Welcome into the Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard. Mike Ackelson along with my wingman, Steve Leslie, and our gunner guy changed. Sarah Yoakley, said she'd had enough. So DJ happily stepped in for us tonight. What a night.
Yeah. Crazy.
We saw some crazy games, and then we get an overtime to finish.
Yeah, the fourth quarter of that Lakeview Liberty game, fantastic. But both teams, quarterbacks made big-time plays and throws and had some guys with big games again, some surprising scores that we talked about and some teams that continue to get better every week.
And tip of the hat to our man Kyle, who was the play-by-play announcer up there. This is only his third week for college football.
He
did a phenomenal job.
Poor guy.
He did a great job. So
here's an overtime game for you. Yeah. No, he was fantastic, and that was a great game.
We had some great games around, a couple big ones tonight. Brookfield, they beat Western Reserve 31-12. Okay, so you're saying, it's a nice win. The Warriors are 2-1, but what makes it so big? Coach Randy Clark.
Yeah,
he has been
wins.
in Brookfield for a long time. Yeah. 100 career wins at the school. So.
Congrats to him, obviously, in a big win. And they played well after they got behind. They kind of took over with that offensive line and the athleticism that we saw, Mike, last week against Springfield. So Brookfield's one of those teams, 2-1, that's played some competition in 3 games. That's going to be a team to look out for.
They're just a few plays away from being perfect.
Yes.
You got to give Springfield credit. Their backs were against the wall. Things weren't going well there, but they rallied in the fourth quarter. So, but Brookfield, nice bounce back.
Yeah, that is a good bounce back win for them, no doubt. And we set up some callers. Aiden Stevens is going to hopefully call in first here. And then I have Coach Armini from La Brea at 10:35, and Coach Emil will hop on at 10:45. So a player and 2 coaches. And talk about that La Brea team. You watched a lot of that game. That's a talented football team.
They are a very talented football team. Aiden Stevens combined for 6 touchdowns tonight. He threw for 165 yards, 1 touchdown. He rushed. He had 5 touchdowns rushing. Let me pull up the stats here for you, because I look at that and I'm thinking that's a game. That's a game that, you can be proud of. 17 carries, 85 yards, but he's in the house 5 times.
And you talked about him and Mr. Caffey, obviously. Hubbard had an average night.
Typical night at the office, 226, 4 touchdowns. Now I'm going to go across the border here, because a guy texted me this week and he said, why aren't you giving Western PA scores? So I says, all right, I'll give them to you.
Sure.
And I'm only going to give 1 right now. I'll give the rest later. But Farrell won again tonight, 66-0.
You ready?
Shocker.
Yeah, shocker.
Tell me something that we all don't know. That's a good football program.
They haven't given up a point in both games.
Aiden Stevens is going to be on his way to get on, and we'd love to do PA.
He's here, actually.
All right.
As a matter of fact, let's get him on here. There he is.
He is joining us. Thanks. Hey, big game for you guys up there tonight against Keystone. A little bit of a struggle in the first half. What did you guys change at halftime that made it just look so easy for the Vikings, Aiden?
Coach just really gave a speech to the linemen about how we got to key in on our blocks, especially number 4 at the linebacker. He was doing a great job in the first half, so we really just keyed in on blocking him, and the gap started opening up.
Yeah, you're doing a great job running the controls there. Talk a little bit about Coach Armini. He's done a great job since he's taken over there. I love your skill positions, your receivers, and your running back. Talk about your guys that you get the ball to, but you've talked about it. The guys up front are doing a great job for this football team as you guys continue on.
For sure. I love those guys up front with Zayden Flanagan, the Petrie brothers, Cam Rabel, Chase Jacobek, and, a lot of other guys that rotate in there. And we got Jamarion Jethro, Ashton Dunbar, and Trayvon Jake at the receiver. They go out there and make good plays. And we got Devin Carter, all-time leading rusher. So, he's definitely someone that we can hand the rock off to and make plays.
I was looking at everything that Coach Armini posted over the summer, and this team is on a mission, the way I've read everything. And right now you're just stacking wins. 3-0 to start the season, but you guys are nowhere near where you want to be yet, are you?
No, sir. We're just taking it week by week, sticking to the script, and trying to get the job done every week, every day.
Yeah, I was impressed. Like Mike said, a slow start, but you made some plays with your feet. Talk about how that is when you have your all-time leading rusher in the backfield. You have a big target at wide receiver, a very good offensive line, and you kind of drive the car with the keys. How is it to be the leader of this football team? Because you do a great job with it.
Yeah, for sure. Especially having Devin in the backfield. A lot of teams like to key in on him, so it opens up the run for me. And then with our line again, I mean, they do a great job, so it just makes the job a little easier. And with the receivers, they block well on the edge, so props to them and everybody on the line.
But there's a lot of unselfishness on this team. I mean, you can spread that rock around to a lot of guys, and it doesn't seem like anybody's ever disappointed because it really doesn't matter who gets it done, just as long as the job gets done.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, we got – go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
I was just going to say we got a lot of guys that we spread the ball around, like you said. You know, it makes it hard for teams to key in on one person. We have multiple threats on the team.
Yeah. Mike, DJ, it's nice to see smiles on young men's faces. I guess I want to ask you, how nice is it? The bands are out, the cheerleaders are out, the fans are out. You have to know the difference. You guys had a great year last year, a playoff run, and played a great playoff game. How exciting is it for you and your school and your community to have everybody supporting LeBray football?
I mean, it's amazing, especially coming off last season. You know, you kind of forgot what that was like with the fans and the band and the cheerleaders, the student section. I mean, it's great, especially after coming off like a big drive, a touchdown, a 3-and-out. You got the student section cheering, everybody cheering. I mean, it's loud. It's amazing.
It's awesome.
It is absolutely awesome. We're looking to many more big nights out of you and that all-time leading rusher.
He's not too bad in the backfield, and Drake as a receiver. That's some pretty good targets. But, Mike, we've talked about this before. This young man's one of those quarterbacks that we talk about in our area. We're so blessed with so many talented quarterbacks, and he's up there, no doubt, and we're glad we can have him on.
We're absolutely spoiled, and this is a great young man to have on. I love what those crosses mean, man.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us, and go enjoy that victory, probably on the hungry side, so you want to get out and enjoy a little meal and get yourself ready for week 4. Who does LeBray have next week? Who will you play?
Garrettsville Garfield.
That's going to be a good one. They won tonight, a pretty good victory, so that's going to be a good football game. They beat JFK, so that'll be a game for the YSN folks to keep an eye on, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Yep, we'll get to the books to get to the film.
There you go.
That's
impressive.
Perfect. Impressive. You want to talk about a nice young man?
Wow.
Humble, grateful, and
we've talked about this. We get to do this show, but the guy sitting over there and Brian Scott and their dreams and their visions, and to do a StreamYard with a young man that has a game like that, that's what the Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard's
all about. Yeah. And, you can't beat that. And he made sure he hit every
person. Subs.
Receiver, subs, coaches, third strings. Guys that are practice players.
That's awesome.
Them all.
I gotta say that was one of the coolest things ever.
Absolutely.
After these games, talking to these kids, that's something that hasn't been done before. And seeing him smile as you guys are asking him questions and things like that. This is cool, guys. I mean, and if we got tons of people watching right now, we're trying to push the envelope.
Yeah.
Give us more ideas.
Yeah. Give us ideas, and if we can get some of these pass games slowed down where we can get some of these games over a little quicker. We'd love to do all kinds of student athletes, but the games run late, and we're doing our best. But we continue to get better as this audible call goes on. But we want as many players and coaches as we can get on. And you understand it's tough on coaches in buses and coming homes and things, but that young man right there was impressive.
And we want to hear from the fans too, because they can check in on our chat box there. You see Billy McCartney checking in, saying, "Great job, Aiden." I mean, these are things that we want to see people. We want to hear people. We want to hear from the fans.
Yeah.
That's what makes this
a game you're at, something exciting that you saw. I know Coach Omraney is going to call in, and Coach Emil are both on the way, but there were some huge games. Cheney Cowboys, you said that in that game. Went down, took the lead at the end of the half, and in the second half, that's a physical football team.
You get beat on by that defensive line the entire game. And I'm watching it, and it's not that Mooney quit.
No.
But it was like eventually you just have no answer for those two guys.
No.
And they are legit. They are everything everybody's reading, writing, saying about them. They're fantastic to watch. Cheney is a hard team to play for.
Yep.
It's going to be a hard team to prepare for.
No doubt.
Gentlemen, adding to the stream right now, Coach Armini, one of the best.
There he is.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, keep talking about Cheney. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. That's a big win for Cheney tonight over Cardinal Mooney. I was able to watch that, Coach. The West Side is proud. I know you are to have football back on the West Side, but from all of us, man, we watched your game today, and that was a pretty good football team you played tonight. A rough start, but Talk about the way you responded to get it tied in the second half, totally dominate.
You know, I think our guys were a little bit wide-eyed. Keystone was a very good opponent. They got some dudes. Ryan Shackelford, one of their skill guys, has got offers from Kentucky and West Virginia. You know, and he made some plays in the first half. When we got in the locker room, you can tell my voice is a little bit hoarse. I challenged our guys, and I told them, I said, in the next 24 minutes, we're going to find out what kind of men we have in this locker room. And they stepped up to the plate and, you know, performed just like I knew they would. You know, I've told them all year, you know, it's early, but I know that we have good football inside of us. You know, I know that there is all the ingredients to make, you know, a very difficult and talented and, you know, successful football team. It's just a matter of getting it all to click. And for about 24 minutes there, it was clicking.
It absolutely clicked for you in the second half. Aiden Stevens told us that you had a great halftime speech for him that got him really motivated. But you got to be proud as a coach because you can really spread that rock around on offense. And Aiden's kind of the chauffeur. He's driving this chariot. But when we just talked to him, he praised every lineman and every other player on the field before he even said anything went me. I love a kid like that. That's going to be great for you to coach a player like that.
You know, it takes some mature guys to be that unselfish. You know, it can certainly, you know, be a problem with talented skill guys who want the football every down. You know, and all three of those guys, Devin, Trayvon, and Aiden, want the football. You know, but we've been able to sell them on, you know, the whole is greater than the sum of our parts. You know, good teams will be able to take away one threat, maybe two threats, but let's see if they can handle all three. And they're really buying into that, you know, and it certainly goes week to week. You know, we kind of ride the hot hand, you know, for a while there. Devin had the hot hand, you know, in the third quarter, we were riding Trayvon. He was running the ball hard, you know, and then when they start sending the house, you know, Aiden is able to, you know, make some plays there, pulling the football, you know, some, you know, things of him just being a football player, you know, and I have in all the years I've been at LeBray, so 9 years as a head coach, 11 years total, I've never seen an offensive line perform that way, and defensive line. You know, those guys had an agenda tonight, man. They were nasty. They played with some edge, and really just imposed their will on a very good football team. So it was really nice to see that end, you know, to add that dimension.
I might need you to come down here and give me a halftime speech some night because apparently it was fantastic. But what was the adjustment you made? Because from the first half to the second half, you guys took over that game. And once you got on top, you clicked it to another gear. You know,
I have an ability to every now and again, you know, throw a good speech out there.
I love it.
I love it.
I did learn from two of the best. You know, I spent, you know, my high school days playing for Ron Burtis, who was really good at it. And then Mike Apache, who I coached with for 8 years when I first started coaching, was also really good at it. So, you know, you pick up things along the way. You know, my offensive line coach, Mike Popio, in high school, who's an assistant at Springfield now, spent a lot of years in Boardman as the DC, also was able to kind of, you know, rally the wagons and, you know, circle the wagons and get you going. So I picked up things over the years, but I think at halftime we told them what we were going to do. You know, listen, there's no tricks here. You know, we're not running trick plays. We're not digging into the package. We're going to run the football. We're going to run it between the tackles. We're going to put you man on man, and we're going to see who's going to leave the field with glory here. And I think they like that. You know, I think they responded to that. You know, defensively, we didn't do one thing differently. Didn't make one adjustment. We said, listen, it's there. Tackle, you know, play with better technique, you know, get going. You know, rally to the football, pursue. It wasn't really, we didn't really make any adjustments on defense. And I thought the game plan was pretty good there, you know, that was able to take away some of their threats.
Yeah, you have a great staff for sure, and you're one of our favorite coaches to talk with. And I know DJ's in here too. LeBray has become a very popular school for YSN, and a lot of that goes with the way your young men handle themselves. That quarterback, he is a remarkable kid, and I can't be more impressed with the StreamYard that he did and how he talked, Mike. But Coach, let's jump in here. Garrettsville Garfield Pretty good football team. They beat JFK tonight. I'm sure you're already aware of that. That's the opponent next week. Another big physical game for you guys. I love seeing the smile on your face because that's kind of what you embrace as a coach. You want to go against the best. You're playing good teams 2 weeks in a row. Talk about what it's going to take going into this Garrettsville-Garfield week.
Yeah, no rest for the weary. They're an awfully talented football team. We knew that this was going to be one of those test weeks for us, and we knew it would be back-to-back. I told the guys when we got it in at the end of the game, enjoy this for 12 hours because we're going back to work. We still have an awful lot on the table. We have an awful lot of things that we still need to do, so it's nice to get this one, but, we're always looking forward. We're always looking for the next challenge, and I think there are, this is why we do it.
Sure.
It's nice to win 50-0, but you never learn anything about yourself. You never learn anything about your young men. You never learn anything about your team, so it's nice to have, the Keystones and the Garrettsvilles and the Brookfields, God, every year that's a war. I have to start mentally preparing for Brookfield 3 weeks before we play them. Because you just know that especially when you're going there.
Coach Clark got his 100th win today, so that's a good program too. I love your schedule.
Such a good football coach. Randy Clark is, unbelievable at what he's able to do over there. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what their roster is. It doesn't matter who's on their team. It doesn't matter who's their quarterback. You just know that they're going to play hard. And Garrettsville's very similar. Coach Mosier does a really good job there. The names change every year, but they got some talented guys. And I think what is most exciting and I think a little bit worrisome is they're very good up front. They have a really good offense and defensive line. Riley Laporte is probably one of the best linemen on our schedule. He's
done his homework already. He's already done the homework. It's a Labor Day weekend, so you get a little extra work for the weary, like you said. But Mike, this is an impressive football team. That's going to be a great game.
It's going to be an awesome game to watch, Coach. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. But save that voice because you may need another halftime speech.
Yeah,
I
don't remember ever yelling or talking this much. It's been, my kids, my young kids now that watch the game and stuff like that, the first thing they want to do is comment on my behavior. And, my daughter who's 9 come over and said, "Daddy, you looked really upset there. You looked really into the game." That's kind of comes with the territory, but
it's competitive.
Just tell her coach mode.
You win with people. We got great kids, we got great coaches, and it just kind of shows.
Well, from all of us, you're a great head coach too. You're the leader. Thanks for joining us. Go enjoy the kids for sure, and a long weekend, and we'll let you get to work on a great game with Garfield next week.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks, Coach. He's awesome.
Yeah, that's you see the West Side in him.
Yeah.
The people he coached with, Capacci and Burtis and Popios, and that's that West Side toughness that they all stick together. You see that when we went over to Cheney. It's a brotherhood over there, and I know they keep an eye on what Cheney still does to this day. So that's a talented football. That's a talented league when you go and look at a Brookfield who's athletic and talented. They're going to play Garrettsville, Garfield. A big win today. It's good football.
I saw a really proud coach right there. And that's my takeaway is he's smiling ear to ear. He knows what's ahead of him, but he's taking this moment right now to be proud of his kids. And that's what it's all about.
Sure. And that's what StreamYard is all about. That's what you love about it. You can see someone's reactions and facial reactions. Those are huge.
I'm just going to, out of curiosity, do you think you'd be able to get that on a radio show?
No.
Okay.
No disrespect to radio. But you don't.
Just saying
too. This is why we do what we do.
That's it. That's why we stream.
I think the big thing I picked up not only was the smile, but it was the way he said it. He goes, "I didn't yell, but I was very direct to get my point across."
Yep.
And let's be honest. Yeah.
There was no X's and O's that changed. It was just let's go execute. Effort and execution.
Yeah. What's that? The old motto: don't raise your voice and prove your argument.
Yeah.
That sounds like exactly.
You have to raise your voice too many times. You've lost them.
White noise.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to guess when he does raise his voice,
he gets their attention.
He gets their attention.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't raise it
You
often.
can tell with Aiden.
And I know where he learned that from.
Ron Burtis.
No doubt.
And who he played. Yeah. There's no question. And I think that's one of the things. And, you know, all these guys, all these younger coaches have young kids. He's going to go home and spend some time with his kids now.
Good.
It's awesome.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fantastic. 2 interviews, 2 home runs.
2 home runs. That's what we do. I'd love to hear some fans' reactions. Coach Emil is going to call in here in a couple minutes, so he's next. But fans, hop on, call us.
Who had to you guys, and we'll pose it to the fans as well. Who had the game of the night? I mean, Liberty and Lakeview, obviously, but there was a bunch of surprises too, guys.
Yeah, JFK.
And if you told me going into that South Range game that was supposed to be the toughest game on their schedule, that they would have had 28 unanswered points to start the game, I would have told you you're a liar.
Right. And if I would have told you Chardon's going to score the first 33 points against Urson, and I would have said it'll be 33-27, you'd say you're full of it.
Liar.
So we have good football. I mean, I like who our local teams are playing. We've talked about that. Fitch goes to McKinley, wins last week. Boardman goes to Jackson, plays their hearts out. Our football's getting there. Springfield's back. A Geneva team who was pretty good.
Yeah.
Would have 45 points. Bo would look like Bo again. Yeah. So to me, and I wanted to see what you South Range is really good because Springfield is really good. And Springfield kind of got it handed by South Range.
And if you're we brought it up during the Siggy and I. Okay, so you walk into week 1, Springfield. Oh, you're gonna get crushed. You know, because it's Springfield. You win that game. Convincingly.
You're confident.
Second game. University School.
Convincing.
They're gonna beat you. Okay. Convincing fashion. Took them 10 seconds to score. Yeah. Tonight, okay, well, you haven't beat Tri-C. You've never seen a team like
plays
Tri-C.
a schedule like that.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And that's a credit to Coach Yeagley and who they're playing. They've played a great schedule.
Look at Coach Yeagley in the coach's interview this week said, we took this week and we worked on our line. And it showed.
Sure.
They said finish. They finished.
They finished big time. LeBray's offensive lineman, I see. Hubbard is offensive line. Yes, Caffey's good, but they were explosive. There's a lot of good teams in our area that I think will continue to improve and be ready to go. Lowville and Springfield this week. That's a huge game.
That's an enormous game.
Yeah, more so for Lowville.
I think it's huge for both of them.
Yes.
Can Springfield suffer another one?
No. And Beaver Local looked really good tonight after a couple tough losses.
You know, West Branch. He turned the West Branch cape. Can anybody stop that?
DeShields is really good.
Did they put up 50 again? I saw 48.
48.
So that's 3 weeks in a row they've been.
My goodness. Salem?
Now I want to give you something.
Yeah.
And that's good. You just said it. West Branch and Salem. East Liverpool's 1-2. Their 2 losses are to Salem and West Branch.
They're hiding in the weeds.
Cheney's 1-2.
They're hiding in the weeds.
A lot of teams hiding in the weeds.
Can we have almost every school?
Well, that's what's nice about this 16-team format. There's a lot of teams that win a couple games that are big points for you. You're going to be in.
What was the final in East Palestine?
40-0.
Okay, so bad for Palestine, obviously, but for Camel, that's something to build on.
Yes, sir. And they played better last week, and they improved this week.
Yeah.
Here's another big game. I don't know. You were driving back here. United and Crestview goes down to the wire.
Okay, who pulled that out?
Crestview ties the game late.
They were down early, right?
Yeah, they were down 2 scores.
2 scores early.
Tie.
They tie it. Flips back. They tie it late. United answers with a touchdown bomb to win the game.
50-yarder in the last minute. That was a great game. That's a huge win for DJ Ogilvy.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That's a big rivalry.
Huge. And the announcers on the way back, I got to be honest with you, I loved it. Larry and I think Alec were on it.
Yeah.
They did a fantastic job.
Our announcers were spot on today.
They were awesome.
Yep.
I mean, we were listening in here, as we bounced, Sarah kept bouncing us to games. All we had to say, here's Lowville, here's Toronto.
What happened with Lisbon tonight?
They played better.
They were out of the game early. And it was, I want to say it was 30-0.
And then
they finished the game. They lost 41-26.
They played
second half.
Great.
They played a lot better.
A little bit of inspired football.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's been a rough
couple of weeks.
Yeah.
To say.
Wyndham.
But
that was a great game. They scored late. To beat Jackson Milton. Milton drove the
There
field.
were 6 games in the fourth quarter that flipped back and forth from tied and then scored in the last, and we had them all. So that's, obviously you missed some touchdowns, which we're going to do, but we got the majority ones, and you get an overtime game and you get 2 guys on a stream. It's a great night at YSN.
I got somebody on the line you guys might know. Hang on, let me bring him in. There he is, the big fella.
How's it going?
Look at that smile. Look at the smile on his face. It's nice to see you smile.
Feels good. It feels good.
John Armini said congratulations. We were talking to him, but first off, this was a big win for you guys tonight.
Just the confidence and just going through all this and being young, and of course with our first still out. I mean, it was huge for us.
Yeah, that's a big win, and you scored at the end of the first half to take the lead. And I told Mike, you dominated the second half. I think that offensive line and some of your young guys continue to get better. The offensive line play, Coach Jamil, in the second half was fantastic. Talk about that a little bit.
I'm at half balance the guys, and one thing we talked about all week. We got finish play. Watch the first two games. Guys are where they have to be, and it's touch them and let them go. And guys slip tackles, and it's just finishing play. When he came out and was aggressive, that first half, and they were sliding and shifting. We made some adjustments on offense to kind of slow that down. And when you have three starting on the offensive line, you just got to give them that confidence. Get it, and we just roll, and just too many penalties. We eliminate some of these. We may have 20 more points.
The biggest thing I noticed tonight, the offense clicked, but the defense, when it had to make a stop, made a stop for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, Chuck Harris and JT Thompson, they great job. Night just giving it confidence and just that they were in the right position doing what they had to do. And Clive and JR, we made some adjustments. Christian Jones has been at linebacker, at defense, at deco, and I think his quickness and speed and the strength that he had just kind of Mooney off guard. Just run zone because he's able to run it down, whether he's front side and just hitting guys and just being in the right position. We did make a lot of changes and it worked out for us.
How hard is it, do you think, for teams to prepare, because that defensive line of yours just pounds people every play, and you might not see it in the first quarter, but by the third quarter, you could tell, like, Mooney's offense, they weren't trotting to that line. They were walking to that line when they would break the huddle.
Yeah, it's scary what our defensive line can do, and the fact that they're able to play one way, that really helps. I think we have, JR play back, but we have a three-header there, and other defense, we rotate two guys, three. So they're fresh, but Clive is way, JR plays one way, but JR is very well conditioned, and Christian played D tackle, and he just played it one way, and to be able to get after those guys, and then Mooney with the numbers that we have, similar, probably smaller than we are. They have the luxury for guys to play one way, so the just be able to get on offense and defense. I mean, you just kind of seen it just warmed.
It was a great win, no doubt. But what I want to talk to you about, it was military night, and Mike Ackelson and myself, I love the jerseys that you wore for the military night. Very good look. As a matter of fact, Mr. Ackelson here, I think, wants to get one of those military jerseys. Talk about that a little bit. I know that's important to you. The military is important. The kids wore that jersey proud. That was a great look for the Cheney Cowboys.
Yeah, it was something I've been trying to do for a couple years. The national, they do. We tried to go 2 years ago out to there and do some team stay overnight kind of thing. They had some sort of come in and train and get ready for to be last year COVID, and then this year they were supposed to come summer and building stuff, but once it came up, but they just apologized for it all. They just wanted able to give us some just with everything world and how everything's, last year, I don't want to say we took time with YPD, the Poland Police Department, Struthers, different guys just got in and spending time with my boys and kind of getting familiar and bridging that gap, and I know you see at least tearing the anthem and things like that. And, I know we did one game, is a knock of disrespect towards the military. Whatsoever, and we have some behaviors, and it was kind of, I guess, with the with their family being in the military, taking a knee. But you also want them to know that we respect, we wanted to honor them. We wanted to show some appreciation. Dance that coach with us for he's a vet. So he captain and came out and Mooney had one. And and any military that wanted to come came for it. Was just a way to show respect and appreciate all the things that they've done. For us to live for a country that we live in now.
That's awesome. And, thanks for joining us again. We'll let you get ready for week 4. I'll talk with you again this week, but big shout out to you, your staff, and the squad on a big win over Cardinal Mooney. Go enjoy the rest of the night.
Hey, Coach, a little bit. We're back at it 9 a.m. Won't be too late.
All righty. Good talking with you.
Thanks, Coach. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I love him.
He's already on to the next one. And Mike, you said it best. Those 2 defensive ends for them, DJ and myself were over there last week. It's you can't appreciate it, I guess, till they were as close to us as we were to them. That those are some big human beings that get after the people on defense. And there's another team. Everybody kind of looked at that Boardman game like, is Boardman, they're 2-0, but they haven't. No, Boardman's a pretty good football team that went head and toe with Madison Jackson.
Well, and not only this, if you look back to Cheney, they're literally 1 or 2 plays away from being 2-1.
Yes.
That's how close it is.
Without one of the best players in the area, if not the best.
Playoff team. That's all I'm saying.
Could be.
I really think so. I think there's a lot of teams that maybe don't have the records that they thought they'd have coming out of the gates. But you look at some of the record or the schedules rather that they're facing on a weekly basis in the first 3 weeks.
Right.
Guess what? Any 8, look out. You got South Range, you got Hubbard, and you got any of the other 6 teams that are going to beat you on any given Friday. That's dangerous. This is good football in this area. This is why we're so proud of Friday nights and Saturday nights in this area, because you just never know who's going to come out. But I think when the playoff system happens this year, there's going to be a lot of people in Western Ohio that go, what's happening over in Northeast Ohio?
I think you're spot on with that. You look at, and again, I go back to that we're playing people, Urson. Yeah, you don't want to lose football games, but that's not a bad loss. And by the way, they play Fitch again this week, which is another game. So that's a D3 team that they lose to. Now they step up another level to D2. Cheney has played big time, folks. Again, I interview Seth a lot. Boardman's that team to me that Terrence Thomas isn't even there yet healthy. That's another team that's going to get better. You said it, the NE8, so many good teams. LeBray's conference, so many good teams. We have a lot of quality in our area and a lot of skilled athletes. The quarterback position, and Mike, I want you to talk. When we sit here and watch some of the throws we see here.
I watched some of those throws Vinny Balone made tonight across his body.
Yeah.
And then it's funny, like he can heave it. But, man, when he wants to play – little touch pass,
pick you apart.
Oh,
Coach Johnson's son, same way. There's so many.
Jackson, yeah.
We could sit here and talk an hour on quarterback position.
And you know what? There's just as many running backs.
Yes.
And we're starting to see that. And as the weather starts to tip down a little bit, we're going to see those running backs step in.
McElroy from Ursuline, O'Hora from Boardman, Dominguez,
TC
Caffey, the young man at LeBray that's the all-time Devon talent.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot. And here's the big thing. You go into conference play next week. We start that. And like you said, the NE8. Hubbard plays.
Gerard with another win tonight. Yeah. They're getting better.
Listen, I was impressed walking away from Garrettsville Garfield last night. And I'm more impressed tonight because JFK, I still think they do what I told everybody they were going to do.
Right.
But I think that's a feather in the cap of
There's no question. And that game was a lot closer than it probably should have been. They dominated that football game with their big boys up front.
They're big.
Oh, and that's a big thing. That's a big thing. You saw how big they were last night, and JFK's not nearly the size. And that's a good game for a JFK. We talk about this all the time. That loss does not hurt JFK at all. Coach will get after him and get better. Sometimes the better teams get better with losses. Look at Springfield. Sean's gotten in them, kind of corrected some of the things from our teams lose the good football teams.
Well, not only that, it's 3 weeks in now. When I watched, I was peeking in on that game a little bit. Remember we talked about that offensive line? They had to replace all those starters.
Mm-hmm.
Week 1, it showed against South Range. South Range had a veteran line. Week 2, that
little better.
Second half, that fourth quarter, they were great. Week 3, they're starting to click.
Yep. And the receivers are starting to get a little better with Bo. And there's just so many good football things. That's what's so fun about what we do. It's 27 games.
And there's a team flying under the radar. We've mentioned West Brainerd-Salem. This Mineral Ridge team.
Oh, the Funky Bunch.
They are just quietly 2-1.
They took over that game. They were down.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people saying, even on our show, they're saying Newton Falls, and for good reason. That's a good team.
It is.
But I think, again, hiding in the weeds, a team under the
Ryan
radar.
Shaner.
He's going to have them prepped. He's a great coach. And they've got a good quarterback, man. They've got a good quarterback. They've got a great system over there at Mineral Ridge, and they got a new field.
Yeah.
There's
And the
a lot
new,
of pride
that's
on
huge.
that.
Yeah, there is a ton of pride there. That's a great answer. Salem continues to roll, Mike. Liberty with a big win for them. That's 2 wins for Liberty.
How about Girard? We haven't talked about Girard at all. That's big. I looked at that score and I thought, holy cow. Now, we don't know who Ellett is.
Right.
We're not familiar with it. But the way that they've hung together after that Streetsboro game, week 1, come on.
The young man at quarterbacks at Jefferson, you talked about him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he had a big game tonight.
Jefferson?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're 3-0, by the way.
Listen, I heard playoff team before the season started. And obviously, you say, okay, everybody's a playoff team week 1, right? They're proving everybody.
United sure looks like one.
That's a big win for them.
After you DJ loses his son at quarterback, that ball he threw for the touchdown was spot on.
Yeah.
A little touch.
Toughest loss tonight across the board. Who took it? I got one team in mind. Sebring.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he expected better tonight.
And I say that only because he's always confident. You know, we know Matt very well. He's a very confident human being. He's the guy that goes hunting whales with tartar sauce in his pocket. But I think you look at that and you go, he believed that his team was prepared and ready. And he said, listen, Matthews is an improved team, but so are we.
Right.
And I think that's not the most disappointing loss from us, but I think when he lays his head on the pillow tonight, there's a lot of plays in his head.
I think the other one for me, probably not that they lost, but how they lost, the way Struthers lost. And Streetsboro can score a ton of points, but Struthers was playing really well, and Streetsboro kind of put it on them, and they do that fast-paced offense. We saw them against Canfield. But I think now you'll see Struthers has to be one of those teams. Now you're getting into conference play into that NE8. There's a whole lot of big boys coming at you now.
Game we didn't have on the network because of the travel time, and they got it at Columbia and Wellington. What was the final on that one?
Well, that one 37-3.
Okay, so I mean, Coach Spate just trying to find a game.
Yeah.
At that point,
which is not easy to do.
It's tough.
Fitch tried for a couple days,
but I think they were better off.
Yeah,
Columbia probably not.
No,
Fitch better off
to sit and wait a week now for Ursuline at home, and that's another big
watching
next
on
week.
YSN.
You look at that. How about the games next week?
Oh, we got
Garrettsville, Garfield, and LeBray, Fitch, and Ursuline. I haven't even looked at the rest of the schedule. Those are 2 that I know.
Beaver local.
You sure you don't want to take a red eye out Saturday morning?
That would be nice if Mr. Hannon called and said we're gonna, because he has flown out the last 2 times they went to Michigan State. So if anybody's listening out there, I'm sure Mr. Hannon and myself would fly out Saturday morning so I could do audible. But it was a great night. It was. I mean, my daughter's here, Jen's here, Sarah. They were on it. People they come and embrace YSN.
Well, that's the thing, guys. And I know it's sometimes it can be rough and hectic and hot back here, but from a fan's perspective, and that's what I am when I watch you guys from the game, it's flawless. It's fun. You guys have a good time.
He makes it easy.
Yeah. You're so good at what you do. And Mike, you always have been. That's why you're here. We've been friends for a long time because of how I admire you. And everybody wants to advance the ball, right?
Right.
Even us. We're competitive.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to.
You're mad. I mean, I don't want to say mad, but you're like 79 touchdowns. That's not good enough. You want 120. You want everyone and that's not humanly possible.
I know.
But me and you are the same, that we think it is humanly possible.
Yeah, we're sitting here.
We're pushing.
We're 18. We're doing numbers. Here, go to 6, go to 4.
Yeah.
Well, there's only so many things you can do.
Yeah, and it seemed like when we were calling them out, all of a sudden we had 5 teams at the 5-yard line.
And that's what happens.
And you're sitting there and you're like, and it's the one game you choose that they're to the line. You're like, okay, this game's getting ready. They call the timeout. So you make the switch the next game, the guy gets tackled at the 1. and you come back to the other one with the timeout, and it seems like they didn't get a minute.
Yeah.
They got 3 minutes.
We have to have that fine list too for the coach that calls timeout on the 5-yard line.
But boys, let me tell you something. And we had this talk on the car on the way home. You look at anywhere else in this country, in this world, there's nobody that's got 26 games on tonight.
No.
And there sure as hell isn't anybody that's got what you guys are doing here.
And they get to go because it's 11 o'clock to turn on. Go ahead.
Yeah, they get to go watch the overtime report on WFMJ.
11:09. You got 8 minutes. You get 21 minutes.
You want to do the scores and wrap this bad boy up?
Let's
All
call
right.
it a night. All right, we'll start. Beaver Local. Hey, they get their first win. Knock off Minerva. 56-7.
They were impressive.
Very nice win. Brookfield. Randy Clark gets his 100th career win, 31-12 over Western Reserve. South Range, the machine just rolls along.
Dominguez, he didn't really have to get a whole lot of work tonight. That's the scary thought. Yeah.
85-yard touchdown.
85-yard touchdown. And yeah, get off your feet a little bit, young man.
42-20. They cruise over Canton C. Cardinal Mooney loses a heartbreaker, I think, to Cheney. Cheney really played well tonight, 22-7. That's their first win. Camfield, no problem. They bounce back, get their second, 35-14 over Cleveland JFK. One of the games of the night. United, Crestview, 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes of the game. Fantastic game, 28-21. East falls to Niles, 44-22. Camel shuts out East Palestine, 40-0. Jefferson, 3-0, 48-21 over Edgewood. Girard, 2-1, 35-0 over Ellett. Garrettsville Garfield walks into Mollenkoff Stadium, and they laid one on JFK tonight, 28-14. The G-men are for real.
They are.
And then LeBray, 49-20 over Keystone. They're 3-0. In overtime, Lakeview loses a crushing heartbreaker, I think, loss because it's on your own field, 34-28 to Liberty. Lisbon falls to Toronto, 41-26. Lowville, 33. Wellsville, 6. Matthews all over Sebring, 46-6. Falls falling to Middle Ridge, 36-22. Poland, 27. Howland, 14. West Branch, 48-6 over Revere. They're still perfect. Salem's still perfect with a 42-20 win over East Liverpool. Hubbard, 47-14. TC Caffey, 226 yards, 4 touchdowns. Springfield, 41-14 over Geneva. Struthers falls to Streetsboro, 56-14. Chardon, 36-27 over Ursuline. Had a 33-0 lead in that game and almost blew it. Jackson Milton loses a tough one to Windham at home, 20-14. Louisville, they get beat late.
Yeah, 2 scores there in the last minute and a half.
16-14. Boardman falls to Jackson, 20-14. Malvern over Waterloo, 51-16. Southeast in overtime against Champion, 22-21.
Wow.
Welling, 37, Columbiana 3. Hudson beat Harding 17-0. Across the border, Farrell, 66-0 over Mercer. No surprise. Hickory, they bounce back. They get their first win. They beat Girard of Pennsylvania, 35-7. Lakeview of Pennsylvania falls to Greenville, 49-15. And Reynolds beat Kennedy Catholic, 47-14. We're not done yet. We've got a game tomorrow, and I think this is a big game. McDonald has to get a win. If Valley Christian wins this one, they're for real.
They're for real.
I'm going to tell you, man, I got to speak to Andy Hake earlier. There's nobody more fired up to play. And he always is.
Yeah.
Well, he loves playing McDonald.
He loves
that
it.
goes back to his Western Reserve.
He loves it. And he knows what's on the line.
Yeah, I think he does. And they have a great coach over Valley Christian. There's no question about it.
I can't wait. First Coach's Corner with Andy Hake Tuesday, boys.
There we go.
There you go.
Let's go. What a night.
It was a pleasure again.
This is awesome. We love it. Thank you for having us, DJ.
Yeah,
Steve and I have a blast.
Guys, come on.
Now we get to watch 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go watch the overtime report.
21 minutes of sports on Channel 21. Our partners over there, Channel 21 WFMJ. Get over there now. Highlights coming up in just moments away. So thanks for your time tonight. You've been watching the Joe Dickey Scoreboard Show right here on YSNLive.com. See you.